Gentlemen, let me ask you a simple question before you finish your next cup of coffee. When you drink it in the morning, does it actually make you feel better in your body, or does it just wake up your mind for a short while and then leave you feeling tense, wired, or flat a few hours later? Most men over 45 know exactly what I mean. Coffee is part of the routine, almost sacred. But very few men ever stop to ask whether that daily cup is truly supporting their aging body or quietly working against it. Now, what I'm about to share may sound like one of those internet gimmicks at first. You've probably seen headlines promising that one strange ingredient will change everything. I understand the skepticism. I'm skeptical too. But stay with me for a few minutes because this is not about magic or hype. It's about biology, blood flow, and something very old that modern men have forgotten. Once you understand the logic behind it, it will make quiet, undeniable sense. My name is Dr. Lina. I'm a board-certified medical doctor, and for more than a decade, I've worked closely with men over the age of 45. I sit across from men every single day who are doing their best to stay strong, sharp, and confident as their bodies change. They're not weak men. They're not lazy. They're responsible fathers, husbands, professionals, and retirees who simply feel that something has shifted and no one has ever explained it to them clearly or honestly. What surprises most of them is not the change itself, but the silence around it. We talk endlessly about cholesterol numbers and blood pressure readings, but we rarely talk about circulation quality. We talk about testosterone as if it's the whole story, but we ignore the tissues, nerves, and vessels that hormones act on. And almost no one talks about how everyday habits, like the way you drink your coffee, can either support or slowly drain the male body after midlife. Here's the truth most men are never told. After your 30s, and especially after your 40s and 50s, your body doesn't suddenly fail. It slowly stiffens. Blood vessels lose elasticity, the inner lining of your arteries becomes less responsive, muscles in the pelvis and lower abdomen hold more tension without you realizing it, sleep becomes lighter, recovery takes longer, testosterone gradually declines, yes, but more importantly, your tissues become less efficient at using what you still have. This is not in your head, you are not imagining it, and you are certainly not broken. This is normal male aging physiology. The problem is not that these changes happen. The problem is that no one teaches men how to adapt intelligently to them. One of the biggest misconceptions I see is that male performance and vitality are purely hormonal. If testosterone is fine, everything should be fine. But real physiology doesn't work that way. In my clinical experience, there are three core factors that matter just as much, if not more, than hormone levels alone: blood flow quality, muscle tone and relaxation, and nerve signaling balance. The good news is that all three of these can be influenced at any age with the right habits. And this brings us back to that morning cup of coffee. Coffee itself is not the enemy. In moderation, it can be beneficial. But on its own, especially as men age, coffee tends to stimulate without nourishing. It activates the nervous system, raises cortisol, and tightens blood vessels temporarily. That's why some men feel alert but tense, energized but not grounded. Over time, this can quietly work against circulation and relaxation, especially below the waist. Now, here is the overlooked, almost shockingly simple addition that changes the entire equation: a small amount of pure, unsweetened cocoa powder. I'm not talking about hot chocolate mixes loaded with sugar. I'm talking about real cocoa, what our ancestors used long before modern processing stripped it of its benefits. Traditional cultures valued cocoa not as a dessert, but as a functional food for strength, circulation, and endurance. Modern science now helps us understand why. Cocoa is one of the richest natural sources of flavonols, compounds that support the inner lining of blood vessels, known as the endothelium. This lining plays a critical role in how well your arteries expand and contract. As men age, endothelial function declines. Blood vessels become less responsive, which affects everything from heart health to pelvic circulation. When you add a small amount of real cocoa powder to your coffee, something interesting happens. The stimulating effect of caffeine is balanced by compounds that support blood flow and nitric oxide signaling. Instead of a sharp stimulation followed by a crash, many men notice a smoother, warmer energy. Not jittery, not forced, just steady. Biologically, this makes sense. Improved endothelial function means better circulation to all tissues, including the pelvic region and prostate. Better circulation means better oxygen delivery, better nerve responsiveness, and better tissue repair over time, especially during sleep. And yes, timing matters. The body does most of its repair work at night, but what you consume during the day sets the stage. Supporting circulation and reducing low-grade inflammation earlier allows nighttime hormones like growth hormone and testosterone to do their job more effectively. This is not about instant stimulation, it's about restoration. The method is simple and respectful of your routine. You don't need special equipment or complicated measurements. In the morning, add about half a teaspoon to 1 teaspoon of pure cocoa powder to your coffee. Stir well. Some men prefer to mix it with a small amount of warm water first to avoid clumping. Drink it slowly. Notice how your body responds over the next few hours. The goal is not taste perfection. The goal is function. Over time, many men begin to notice subtle changes, a sense of warmth rather than tension, fewer afternoon energy crashes, less tightness in the lower back and pelvis, improved sleep depth at night. Within a few weeks, some men report better morning readiness, not in a forced way, but as a sign that blood flow and nerve signaling are becoming more responsive again. Confidence improves quietly, not because of hype, but because the body feels more cooperative. There are also secondary benefits that rarely get mentioned. Improved circulation supports prostate comfort and urinary flow. Men often notice fewer nighttime bathroom trips. Pelvic muscles hold less unconscious tension. Even posture can improve because the body is not constantly bracing itself. Now, let me be clear and responsible. This is not a replacement for medical care. If you have heart conditions, are on blood-thinning medications, or have been advised to limit certain compounds, you should speak with your physician. Use pure cocoa from a reputable source. Pay attention to your body. More is not better. Consistency is. This is not an instant fix. Think in terms of weeks, not days. Aging well is not about dramatic interventions. It's about small, intelligent habits practiced patiently. One of the most effective ways to make this work is to anchor it to an existing routine. You already drink coffee. You don't need to remember something new. You simply adjust what's already there. Some men even find that sharing this ritual with a partner, without any performance pressure, adds a sense of calm connection to the day. As we close, I want you to hear this clearly. Aging does not mean inevitable decline. It means your body asks for a different kind of support. When you give it what it actually needs, circulation, relaxation, nourishment, it responds. I encourage you to try this for 30 days, not as a miracle cure, as an experiment in listening to your body again. Pay attention to how you feel, how you sleep, how you move through your day. You deserve to feel steady, capable, and at ease in your own body at every stage of life. Sometimes the most powerful changes come not from doing more, but from doing something simple, with understanding, patience, and quiet confidence.